Hello friends, this is Dr. Shakil Sheikh and now we will discuss about the Marsilia. It is a pteridophyte belonging to class Phyllocophyta. The order is Marsiliales. It belongs to family Marsiliaceae. The genus is Marsilia. It is commonly known as the water fern, represented by near about 53 living and 10 fossil species. Species occur in all parts of the world but are more common in the warmer parts of the world, such as the tropical Africa and Australia. It is aquatic or amphibious in habitat. The aquatic species usually grow in shallow ponds, but fruiting bodies that we call as sporocarps are found only in the terrestrial habitats. The amphibious species grow in waterlogged conditions, partly submerged. Marsilia condensate and Marsilia rajanthensis are near xerophytic, and Marsilia hirsuta, which is an Australian species, can withstand long dry spells. In India, the genus is represented by 9 living species. Out of these, Marsilia minuta is the most and widely distributed species. It is practically found all over the India. In Punjab, it is very common after the rains. Marsilia bacchipus, Marsilia quadrifolia, Marsilia rajanthensis, and Marsilia aegyptica are the other important species found in India. Four species have been reported from Rajasthan. Species such as Minuta and Quadrifolia are hydrophytic in nature. They grow submerged or partially out of the water. So this is the plant structure of Marsilia and it is very interesting to see the details. Let's see one by one. Rhizome that we call as a stem. The stem is long and slender. It creeps either on the surface like stolon or slightly below the surface of the soil like rhizome. It grows extensively and is branched. The branches arise at the bases of petioles and are extraaxillary in position. They are arising in the lateral or oblique position. They run in all directions and may get rooted at the nodes. In this way, a single plant may occur an extensive area about 20 meters diameter or even more also. The stem is divisible into distinct nodes and internodes. The internodes are long in the hydrophytic species and short in the subterrestrial or xerophytic species. When we talk about the root, the primary root formed on the stem is short-lived and is soon replaced by adventitious roots, which arises gradually at the nodes on the underside of the stem. Sometimes roots may also arise at internodes, for example, in Marsilia aegyptica, or they may arise laterally, which are observed in Marsilia minuta. The roots are thin and may be branched or they may be unbranched. They develop in an acropetal sequence, that is, the youngest root is towards the apex of the rhizome. The number of roots at the node and their size vary considerably. The leaves arise in the upper side of the stem and are arranged in two alternative rows as we have seen in the figure 1. They are long petiolated and compound. The petioles of the submerged plants are long, thin, and flexible, with the lamina floating on the surface of the water, while the leaves of the plants growing in mud or on land have upright, short petioles with lamina held in spreading position. The lamina is usually divided into four leaflets of the same size. They spring from the tip of the petiole so that the leaf apparently looks quadrifoliate. Occasionally, the number of leaflets may be 5 or 6 or even 8 instead of the usual 4. In outline, the leaflets are obovate, elliptical, or wedge shaped with entire or dentate margins. So, this is the dichotomously branched and petiole leaves of Marsilia species, where we can see the four leaflets are there, that is quadrifoliate leaf is occurred in the Marsilia. At the base of the petiole, many bean shaped or oval and stalked structures are developed, which are called as sporocarps. So this is the structure of the sporocarp, where it shows presence of the stalk. This is the stalk. This then it is having the body. The point where stalk and body is attached, that is known as raphe. At the top it also shows a typical structure which is called as tuberculate. So when we see the anatomy of the Marsilia, it is very interesting because each structure shows typical structure. For example, now we will see the rhizome, that is the stem TS, where epidermis is single layered, which is made up of compactly arranged thick wall cells. The cortex is differentiated into three regions, that is outer cortex, middle cortex, and inner cortex. The outer cortex is erenchymatous, one to several cells in thickness, sometimes also consist of tannin cells, whereas in middle cortex, which is consisting of sclerenchymatous tissue filled with the air cavities arranged in the form of ring, and the inner cortex is solid tissue of several cells in the thickness. The inner layer of the inner cortex is parenchymatous, filled with the starch, while the outer cortex of the inner cortex is sclerenchymatous in nature. The vascular cylinder is siphonostele, limited externally and internally by endodermis, hence called outer endodermis and inner endodermis respectively. The siphonostele is medullated. The xylem is in the form of ring. Phloem is present on both sides of the xylem. Such a stele is called as amphiphloic siphonostele. The deposition of several tissues from inwards is outer endodermis, then outer pericycle, then outer phloem, xylem, inner phloem, inner pericycle, and inner endodermis. Then TS of petiole shows single layered epidermis, which is made up of rectangular cells. The outer cortex consists of few layers of thin walled cells. Middle cortex is erenchymatous, consisting of a ring of air chambers, while the inner cortex is solid, compact tissue with several cells deep. The inner layers of the inner cortex are parenchymatous and filled with the starch. Here and there, tannin filled cells are also occurred. When we talk about the vascular bundle, the stele is covered externally by a single layer distinct endodermis. It is triangular in outline, lies in the center, and has a single vascular bundle. The xylem is V-shaped with opening towards the axis. The order of the tissues from inner to outer side of the stele is, first of all we can see the xylem, then the xylem parenchyma, later on phloem, which is followed by the pericycle, and finally it shows endodermis at the outer side. The TS of leaf blades consists of upper and lower epidermal layers, each made up of a single layer of parenchymatous cell. The continuity of epidermis is interrupted by slightly sunken stomata. The stomata are restricted to the upper epidermis in floating leaves. The ground tissue, that is we call as a mesophyll, lies between the upper and lower epidermis, and these are differentiated into palisade and spongy parenchyma, where the palisade part lies just beneath the upper epidermis and consists of columnar cells rich in chloroplast, while the spongy part faces the lower epidermis and consists of rounded cells. In case of submerged species, there is no distinction between palisade and spongy tissues. Vascular bundles are embedded in the mesophyll tissue. They are concentric in nature. Each bundle has a central core of xylem surrounded by the phloem. The arrangement of tissue in the stele is xylem, phloem, and bundle sheath. When we look towards the TS of the root, it consists of piliferous layer instead of epidermis. This layer is made up of compactly arranged biconvex cells. Beneath piliferous layer, the cortex is made up of an outer cortex and inner cortex. Outer cortex is erenchymatous, consisting of large air chambers arranged in the form of ring. That means it forms a ring. Inner cortex is compact, which is made up of rounded cells containing starch grains. In case of inner cortex, it is delimited by a single layer of distinct endodermis. Vascular bundle lies within the endodermis and usually diarch and exarch. The xylem is plate-like and occupies the center of stele. The protoxylem, consisting of two small mass of cells, which is towards the periphery, that is towards the pericycle, while the metaxylem is large, plate-like, and occupies the center. There is no medullary tissue, that is the pith region in the stele, and arrangement of tissue is metaxylem, protoxylem, phloem, and endodermis. When we talk about reproduction in Marsilea, Marsilea is sporophyte and reproduces asexually both by vegetative means as well as by means of the spores. In case of vegetative reproduction, Marsilea reproduces or it forms tubers which are very small bird-like structures containing the reserved food materials arising from some subterranean branches of the rhizome. These tubers serve as perinating organs and are capable of tiding over the unfavorable conditions. When there will be a favorable conditions, these tubers germinate to form new plants. Tuber formation has been reported in a few Marsilia species such as Marsilia minuta and Marsilia hirsuta. They also produces the spores, that is reproduction by the spores. Marsilia is heterosporous fern which produces two types of the spores, that is microspores and megaspores in separate sporangia borne in special bean shaped bodies which we call as a sporocarps. So we have seen the structure of the sporocarp. It is divided into two parts, especially that is stalk and the body. So it is a bean shaped to ovoid nut-like structure attached to the basal part of the petiole with the help of a stalk. It is green and soft when young, but that turns dark brown at the maturity. That means the stalk is usually green initially or in initial stage, and in at the maturity stage it is going to be convert into dark brown color. Usually one sporocarp is present at the base of each petiole, but in some species the number varies from 2 to 20. Sometimes the attachment of the sporocarps with the petiole shows so much variation that different species can be distinguished on this particular character. For example, in Marsilia polycarpa, many sporocarps are attached on one side of the petiole in a single vertical row, whereas in Marsilia quadrifolia, pedicel, that is stalks, are united with one another and then jointly inserted on the petiole. In Marsilia minuta, the stalks of all the sporocarps, though free, are attached to the petiole at a single point. So this is the different modes of attachment of the sporocarps to the petiole. The first diagram shows Marsilia polycarpa where different sporocarps are attached on the petiole, whereas in Marsilia quadrifolia, then Marsilia minuta and Marsilia vestita. So different kinds of the arrangements can be seen of attachment of this sporocarp. This is the main key aspects for the identification of Marsilia species also. So now we will see the structure of sporocarp. As I have been told you that the sporocarp is differentiated into two parts, that is stalk, which is also called as a pedicel, and the second part is called as a body. The stalk is fused laterally to the back of the body of the sporocarp, generally forming a distinct ridge called as a raphe. In some species, the distal, that is the upper end of the raphe, is marked by one or two teeth-like projections which are known as the tubercles. When we see the internal structure of sporocarp, the TS of the sporocarp, it can be studied under the following heading, that is the sporocarp wall. The wall of the sporocarp is very hard, thick and highly resistant to the mechanical injury. It is differentiated into outer epidermis, a middle hypodermis and inner parenchymatous zone. The epidermis is made up of cuboidal cells covered with a thick layer of cuticle. A large number of sunken stomata are present in the epidermis. The hypodermis consists of two layers of radially elongated palisade-like cells which are compactly arranged without any intercellular spaces between them. The inner parenchymatous cells of this zone form a gelatinous ring inside the sporocarp wall. When we talk about the sori, uh, the horizontal section of the sporocarp, a ring appears in the form of dorsal and ventral mass. In this plane, both micro and megasporangia are visible as a sori. The sori are the reproductive structures arranged in the two alternative rows in the cavity of the sporocarp. Each sorus has a receptacle which contains one terminal megasporangium and two microsporangia on the lateral side. It is surrounded by indusium. The sori overlap each other and the indusia of the adjacent sori are partially fused. The number of sori in sporocarp varies from 2 in Marsilea aegyptica to 20 in Marsilea quadrifolia. And in Marsilea vestita, there are 11 to 12 sori in minuta. Each sorus bears both mega and microsporangia. The former are short stalked and are arranged in a row at the tip of the receptacle, whereas latter are long stalked and arise on the sides. The number of micro and megasporangia varies with species to species. For example, in minuta, a sorus has 4 to 8 megasporangia and 8 to 13 microsporangia. So, if you can see the development of the sporocarp, it originates from one of the marginal cells of very young leaf when it is 6 to 8 cell high. One of the marginal cell cuts off segments on either sides and one of the derivatives acts as a apical cell for the second sporocarp. This process is repeated several times depending on the number of sporocarps formed at the base of the leaf. The sporocarp initially cuts off segments on either sides and forms a mass of undifferentiated cells, which later curves markedly so that its distal end is directed in a horizontal plane. Subsequently, two rows of the soral mother cells are differentiated on the ventral side of the young sporocarp. The differential growth of soral mother cells and their derivatives results in the formation of involutions on the upper surface of the sorus. These involutions grow into arc-shaped depressions which we call as a soral canals. The soral mother cells divides to form receptacular surface in the alternating rows, whereas the sporangial initial develops on the receptacular surface in a acropetal succession. That is, the first sporangial initial is formed at the apex of the receptacle and it forms megasporangia. Subsequently, two initials are formed on the lateral side of the receptacle. They functions as microsporangial initial cell, each forming a microsporangium. So this is the diagram showing the development stages of the micro and megasporangium of Marsilea species. So as we have seen in the diagram, there is a development of the sporangia. Since Marsilia is a heterosporous form. It forms megasporangium, which produces the megaspore, and the microsporangia, which produces the microspore. The megasporangia are also known as macrosporangia. The sporangia develop in basipetalous manner on the receptacle. The megasporangia develop first at the top of the receptacle and are therefore older, while the microsporangia are developed later along the sides of the receptacle. The development of the microsporangium as well as megasporangium is almost similar. The spore or the sporangial initial divides transversely, forming an outer and inner cell. The entire sporangium develops from the outer cell, the inner cell taking no part in its development. That means the outer cell plays very important role in the development of the any sporangium. The outer cell of the sporangium, which is destined to form spore mother cell that we call as SMC, which undergoes repeated division. Each spore mother cell undergoes reduction division and forms four haploid spores. In megasporangia, all but one spore degenerates to form a nutritive liquid which grows in size at the expense of others, forming the single large functional megaspore. In microsporangium, almost all the spores in microsporangium are functional. So this is the mature megaspore within the megasporangium, showing very thick and well differentiated wall. Now, how the sporocarp dehisced? There is no any special mechanism for the liberation of the sporangia from the sporocarp. They are set free only when the wall of the sporocarp splits open. As the sporocarp breaks at one point due to the absorption of water, the sori come out along the gelatinous ring of sporocarp. These sori functions as mother cells of the gametophytic generation. So it is going to be start with the germination. The microspores and the megaspores germinate separately to produce the male and the female gametophyte. The microspores germinate immediately after shedding, forming a small biconvex prothelial cell and the large apical cell. The apical cell, by repeated divisions, ultimately forms androcytes or the antherozoids mother cell. Each androcyte metamorphoses into a corkscrew-shaped multiflagellated antherozoid, which is characterized by the presence of prominent terminal vessel. So this is the structure, that is screw-shaped multiflagellated antherozoid characterized by its presence of a prominent terminal vesicle. Similarly, megaspore undergoes division, forming small nipple-shaped apical cell and a large basal prothelial cell. The apical cell forms the female gametophyte, while prothelial cell provides nutrition to the developing gametophyte. The fertilization in Marsilia is again interesting part, that is that the neck canal cells and the ventral canal cells, that is NCC and VCC, gets degenerates to form a mucilagous mass which attracts the sperms chemotactically. One of the sperm fuses with the egg to accomplish fertilization and forms the diploid zygote. This zygote is mother cell of the next sporophytic generation and develops into a young sporophyte within 2 to 4 days after fertilization. Later on, the embryogeny takes place. The embryo gives rise to the young seedling that penetrates through the calyptra and grows into the sporophyte. So this is the structure of sporophyte in the Marsilea. In overall, the life cycle of the Marsilea, we find alternation of generations. Marsilea plant is sporophytic in nature, which is dominant phase in the entire life cycle. The sporophyte comprises rhizome, roots and the leaves, which reproduces vegetatively as well as by means of the spores. The spores are formed in sporangia on a specialized structure which we call as a sporocarps. These sporocarps bear two kinds of the asexual spores which are formed after the meiosis and are thus haploid and known as the meiospores. The smaller spores are known as the microspores. They are produced within microsporangia, and the larger spores are known as megaspores which are formed in megasporangia. Both the sporangia are produced within the fruit body of the sporocarp. And this is the life cycle of Marsilea sporophytic plant. Then it produces the sporocarp within which megaspores are formed and microspores are formed. Later on, these get fused with, that is, megaspores form the female gametophyte, whereas microspores form the male gametophyte. Then megaspore female gametophyte forms the archegonia, that is the egg, and whereas male gametophyte forms the coiled structure, that is the sperms, which gets fused to form the zygote, and from this zygote embryo is formed and which gives rise to again a sporophytic plant. Thank you very much.